A very good morning, everyone. I hope that all of you are doing well, and welcome to our lab class. This is week 4, and the semester is moving on very fast. So we're already in our week 4. So, just a few reminders. Okay, under your assessments, your short test 1 will open up on the 22nd of August. That is this week, Sunday. So please, on Sunday by 6 a.m., it will be opened up. Do take time to revise well from week 1 till week 4 and attempt your short test 1. Please do know that there is a time allocation of 30 minutes only, and you are provided with 1 attempt. So prepare yourself well and ensure that you attempt this quiz before the 29th of August, 11:59 p.m. Now, for week 1, week 2, week 3, okay, I hope that you are keeping up with your lecture-based quizzes. But I also hope that you are keeping up with your lab exercises as well. Now, here's the thing, just in case if you have missed on to the lab exercises or the lab discussions from week 1, please do go over the lab recording and try to ensure that you learn all the very basic concepts of Photoshop, okay? Because all these are just like a continuous movement. Once you learn the basics, so only then you can move on to the next stage. And you must have noticed this, the things that we had first learned in week 1, week 2, now you're applying it in your labs. So please ensure that you are keeping up with the labs. Now for week 3, what we had done last week, we had gone over some important tools. We had gone over clone stem tool, content aware filling tools. Okay, we also went around doing selections through the use of quick selection tool and also using lasso tool. Moreover, we had worked on spot healing tool as well. And I had provided you with a bit of examples, not examples, sorry, the exercises which you were supposed to complete. Now, we had discussed this in yesterday's class. Since yesterday our lecture was quite short, we have gone over all of these exercises. Now, if you are someone who has missed on to it, please ensure that you catch up to the lecture recording. Now, for week 4, we have our week 4 online quiz. Please ensure that you make an effort to attempt it. Most probably by this weekend, the sooner you do, the better it is. Okay. And then we have a lab exercise. In fact, we have quite a number of lab exercises. Together with that, we will be learning something new in terms of changing colors using layer mask effects and levels. And also we will be learning how to create duplicates. Okay, now this is something new, changing colors, which I will be guiding you accordingly. Now, creating duplicates, it's not something that is new. It's very much similar to the use of the existing tools that you have already learned. Okay, but it's just about setting things right and using a bit of technicalities. Moreover, once we finish with this tool, what we'll do is we'll go over our in-class lab. So we have a scenario over here, and we will try to see what is wrong with these photographs and we'll try to improve them. All right. So is there any questions or any queries from anyone? By the way, those of you who have joined us, thank you very much for taking out your time. Welcome. I hope that you will have something to take away with this class. All right. So any questions, any queries before we move on? No? Okay, so first of all, what I will request you to do is I will request you to click on this particular link, changing colors using layer mask effects and levels. So when you click on it, you have the image of a couch. What you can do is you can do a right click and save image as and save this image somewhere within a folder on your desktop or where you are actually saving the files. So what we will do is we'll try to change color. We'll change into several colors. First of all, we'll try with color red and then blue and then green, till all of us, we are very much comfortable in terms of changing colors. So quickly download this app. Now, once you've downloaded this, also open up www.photop.com and open up that specific image. Okay, I hope that you have opened the image by now. Okay, please get well versed in terms of downloading and then opening up photop.com. Probably the best thing you can do is as soon as you know that you have Photoshop lab class, you can open up photop.com beforehand. Okay, learn the short for opening up files is Control and O. So when you press Control O, what you do is you press the shortcut for opening up a specific file from a specific folder, so that eases up your work. And I would suggest for you to actually start learning those things. Now, we already have a photograph of a couch right in front of you. Now we want to go around changing the color. So before we can go around changing the color, here's the thing. Let me explain the difference between changing colors using hue or saturation and then changing colors to the use of what we're going to do now. When you are changing colors in terms of hue or saturation, you are not able to pick up specific colors. In fact, the colors that you pick are preset colors. When I say preset colors, those colors are automatically placed into the palettes in Adobe Photoshop. And based on that, what you are doing is you are just moving the level bars and then you are trying to see a color which seems good. Now over here, what we're going to do is we will try to choose a color, or we'll try to choose multiple colors which we want to actually apply and not what Photoshop sets for us. So what I will suggest for you to do first is this. Okay, now in your tools bar, somewhere before you see a hand icon. Right on top of that, you have your shape tool. Now in your shape tool, I will advise you to go and select the ellipse tool. Shape tool, click and hold. You have some options. Can you go and select ellipse tool? Now generally ellipse tool provides you with a circular shape. Okay, if you want to make perfect squares, so you have to press and hold shift. If you want to make ovals, so you don't have to press and hold shift. Now before we actually create the shape, first of all, let's go and choose a specific color. Let's say I want to choose color red. Okay, and make sure that you have no stroke. Stroke is the outline of that specific image or shape in this case, so no stroke. And then I'll create a circle. So okay, I think Zoom, the internet connection is playing up a bit. So so let me just go over it once again. So we are on Photoshop. So what I have done is basically I've created a circle. It's a perfect circle. I'll go and remove this very, very quickly so that you have not missed what I had told earlier. Okay, so what I'm using is from my toolbar, I have a shape tool. So from there, I'll click and hold and select the ellipse tool. Now with the use of ellipse tool, it gives me a set of options. I'm choosing a color red. Okay, having no stroke. Stroke is basically the outline of that particular circle. I do not want to have any color on the outline. It's just that I want the red color. And then what I'll do is I'll press and hold shift. And why I'm pressing a shift is just that because it gives me a perfect circle. And then release the mouse button and release the shift button. So it gives me that particular circle. Now, what I want to tell you here is the reason why I'm creating that shape is this. It's just a matter of telling you is in a specific image, if there are colors that basically gives you a sense of attraction and you want to choose that color and apply into a specific object, you can always go picking this particular specific color. So we'll leave that as it is. And then you'll notice is that in your layers, you have two layers now. You have shape one with the red circle, and then you have the background. Now, with the selection of background layer, what I want you to do is I would like you to go and use a quick selection tool and select the entire couch. Now, when you are using your quick selection tool, it's most likely it will pick up these silver outlinings on the couch as well. If it selects it, do select it. At the moment, just select it. So what we'll do is from our tools menu, I will go and select the quick selection tool, click on it once, and you'll notice is that it basically selects the entire thing except for this portion. If I would pen, see this portion has been missed out. So I will also go and select that. So can you do the same, please, everyone? Get well versed with using lasso tool, selection tool. Today in the class, we will be using magic selection tool as well. So that will make things easy for you in terms of selecting. Now, once you've selected, this is what you will do next. Now, do notice that your background layer is selected. I would like you to go and create a folder, or in Photoshop terms, we call this as creating a group. So I'll go and create a group, and it gives me a name as folder one. So I will select that folder. Now that forms a layer of its own. Okay. So I will select that folder one, and from the layer tool menu, I have something called as add raster mask. Now, in photopea.com, we have this is normally called as raster mask. And if you're using a Photoshop CS5 or CS6 software, or Photoshop CC, what it will tell you, or what the name of this tool would be, layer mask. They mean the same thing. Okay, so you'll click on it. So what you'll notice is that it ends up selecting, okay, it ends up creating a mask right next to the folder, and it is selected. So the dashed line that you see, that means that particular mask is currently selected. Now, why are we creating the mask? What happens is, with the use of masks, it allows you to have multiple options without distorting the actual image that you have. Very much similar to the adjustments layer. Now, once you have done that, the very next thing that you will do is you'll go back to your layer tools, okay? And then you will create a new adjustments layer. And this time, the effect that you're applying in your new adjustments layer is solid fill, or in this case, we have color fill, okay? So can you click on color fill? Now, when you click on color fill, what it does, it gives you a color palette. Remember color palette from yesterday's notes? Okay, so it gives you a color palette. Now, what I want you to do is I want to select this red specific color. But at the moment, if I go in red, I do not know which red it actually is. So going back to my tools panel, I have a eyedropper tool. So I will select that eyedropper tool. Can you do the same, everyone? Select that eyedropper tool and click onto the red color. Okay, now does it allow you to choose that color? No, it does not. Okay, now if it doesn't allow you to do so, now in Photoshop CS5, CS6, or Photoshop CC, it generally does allow the individuals, or does allow the designer to go around choosing a color using the eyedropper tool. If it doesn't allow you to do so, Don't worry, there's another way of actually handling this. So what I'll do is I'll close this. Adjustments layer is not yet created. So I will use the eyedropper tool now and select that color. Now notice this, when I select the color, what color that I generally have here, okay, it needs to come in the foreground color. At the moment, it is coming as black. Now, the reason why it is coming as black is because we are selecting the layer mask. So we'll go back to our background layer. We'll double click on this. Okay, so we'll go back to our background layer, and then we'll double click on the foreground color palette. From here, I will use my eyedropper tool, drag it with this side, choose the red color. And notice that now the color changes to red. And I have some hex value. Now hex value, the long form is hexadecimal value. So what I will do is I will select that hexadecimal value and Control C to copy. Again, so I will click on the foreground color. It gives me a color palette. Okay, and then eyedropper tool, I'll go and select the red color. So it gives me that version of red. And with that version of red, it gives me a hexadecimal value. So I will copy that and then click on OK. So that has been copied. So I go back to my layer mask once again. I'll select the mask. Remember, this is where your background layer is. This is your grouping layer. Now you're selecting that mask within the grouping layer. Then I will go to my new adjustment layer. I hope you're also keeping up with me, just in case if I'm moving too fast, do feel free to let me know. So from the adjustment layer, I will go and choose the color fill effect. So when I go and choose the color fill effect, notice what happens. Whatever you had copied previously basically comes in over here, or you can also do Control V to paste. So that hexadecimal value comes up. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. And then you'll click on OK. So when you click on OK, what you notice is that your couch is already colored in red, but this is not something that we wanted. What we wanted was to retrieve the texture as well. Now to do that, or to retrieve the texture, we have to apply some form of filters. To apply some form of filter, so while you are still in your color, now do remember this, you'll have to ensure that you have to apply the filter to the new color that you have just filled in. Now, how do we apply the filter? To do that, this is a filter section, okay, where it says normal, and then you have a drop down arrow. So what you'll do is you'll click onto the drop down arrow, and then you go down and choose the option color. Notice this, once you have selected the option for filter as color, your couch changes to color red. Now, here's the thing. You can stick with this specific color red, or what you can do is, let's say you are not so satisfied, you wanted it to be a different version of red. So this is where what you can do is you can work with something called as levels. Now, what we'll do is we'll go back to adjustment layer, add new adjustment layer, and then we will choose the command levels. Now, notice this, your levels layer comes on top of color fill. So I want this fill color layer to be on top of the levels layer. So when I select levels, now This is how I can select levels. So when I am dragging my levels bar, you will see the color changes in that specific image. So this is all the variations of the specific red that we had just chosen. So what happens is when you're moving this, okay, once you're moving these levels, you are, in terms of moving the colors, these are RGB colors, by the way, red, green, blue. At the moment, you only have versions of red. So that's where this level selection can be done. Another way is if you want to control the darkness and the brightness, you're most welcome to do so with the use of these two level bars. So in total, this is how you can go around changing the colors. Now, how do we do it? There's few ways to do it. Okay. First of all, what you have to do is you have to select the object in which you want to change the color. After that, you have to go around creating a group. In this case, in photopea.com, it's a folder. So you have to go around creating a folder and add a mask to it. Once you add a mask to the layer, the next thing what you do is while your masked layer is selected, you'll go and add a adjustments layer and apply a solid color fill. Upon applying the solid color fill, you'll have your color palette being showed up. You can go and choose a specific color. Now, if just in case, if the color that you want to select is already up within the same image, what you can do is you can close it off, choose the color, copy the hexadecimal code, and then paste it when you're applying the color effect with new adjustment layer. Moreover, the next thing what you do is once you apply the specific color, that color will cover up the entire texture of the object that you had initially selected. So to get the texture back, you have to apply the color effect. Now with the color effect applied, you have to go and create another new adjustments layer and adjust the levels accordingly. And that basically gives you an object with your own desired color. Now, we have changed the color to color red. Now, let's go and change it into two more different colors. First of all, let's try color blue. And secondly, let's go and try color green. So color blue, we'll do it together again. And color green, that's where you'll do it first. I'll give you about a few minutes. And from there onwards, after the few minutes, I will mark it up. So what I will do is I will close this, okay? And then I'll open up the same image once again. So this is the image that I have. So let's go and work on it. So the very first thing we do is we select the object. So when I say select the object, object is basically the portion of the image that you want to select. So in this case, our object is the specific touch. So how do I select? So from my tools panel, I will go and select the quick selection tool and I will select it up. Now, if you notice it very carefully, everything is selected except you have some marks here in the middle. So these marks indicate that this is the non-selected portion from that object. So ensuring from my options bar that unite is selected, okay, and then I will click where I was able to see those marks. And once I've selected it, my entire object is selected from this particular image. Can you do that, please, everyone? If you have questions and queries while we're going over this, please do feel free to ask questions. If you feel I'm going too fast, let me know. Okay, I hope you've selected this. It just required 2 specific clicks. So once you've selected it, the very next thing we're going to do is we are going to go and create a group. Now, group is here, folder. So place a click on it. So this is how you go around creating a group. So once you have created a group, the very next thing that you will do with that group is you will go and add a layer mask to it. To add a layer mask, you should be able to find layer mask within the layers tool section. So this is the layers tool section, and look at the first one that you have is called link layers. After that you have layer style. After that you have adjustments layer, and then it says add raster mask. This is same as layer mask. So place a click on it. Do notice that in terms of once you actually add a layer mask, your layer mask is selected. Now this is where you have your group selected. This is where you have your layer mask selected. So there's a difference between the two. Okay, now as for the color that will apply next is you can choose a color, your desired color of your choice, or we can always go and choose from the options. So we're going to choose for the options this time. So once you have applied your layer mask, the next thing you will do is you will go and create a adjustments layer. So from your layer panel tool, okay, new adjustment layer, and I want to choose a solid color. To choose a solid color, I will go and click on the command color fill. Okay, now we have some preset colors over here. I want to have a bluish color, so you can go and choose a version of blue that you want. So keep it simple, keep it in, okay, up to you. So I'm choosing this specific blue. I'll give you a few seconds to actually choose the color of your choice. Stick to a specific blue. The next exercise where you'll be working on, I will be allowing you to choose a color of your own choice. At the moment, stick to a blue color. By the way, this is where we have the hue of colors. When you talk about the hue of colors, is a specific different color. Now, saturation is the blend of that specific blue. For example, so this is blue, and these are all the saturated versions. That means a shade of color blue. And you have brightness, which is B. So brightness, what happens with the brightness, you are selecting how light or how dark the color is. So your brightness is low on this end and your brightness is high on this end. Okay, so this is what hue, saturation, and brightness stand for. It's hue, saturation, brightness. So after you've selected the blue, you'll click on OK. So once you have chosen your color, you'll notice is that your select object has been covered up by a solid blue color. Now, this is what we wanted initially, to have a color for our own choice, but we didn't want to have the color covering up the texture. Now, to improve on it, what you will do is you will go and apply a effect. Now, this effect is called a layer effect or a layer filter. So you can click onto the drop down arrow next to where it says normal. And from there, what you will do is you will go and choose the option called color. Upon choosing the color option, you will see that your image texture is retrieved, okay? And with the retrieval of texture, with the retrieval of the texture rather, your color is blue, showing it in a very appropriate manner that you want it. Now, if you would like to enhance it a bit more and do a bit more trial and error with it, the next thing you could do is this. You can go and apply a new adjustment layer or create a new adjustment layer, and from it you can adjust the levels. So very quickly, from our layers toolbar, which is here at the bottom, new adjustment layer, and we will go and choose the command levels. Now, before you actually go and start playing with the levels, now when you play with the levels, generally you play with 3 specific colors. You're choosing red, green, or blue, RGB colors. Okay, so you will be manipulating those colors. But before you do that, you need to ensure your color fill needs to be on top of the levels panel. So once in top, what happens is generally you are applying the change on the particular object. If it's below it, you wouldn't be able to see any change. So from here, So what I can do is I can try and adjust the color that I want to adjust. So darker or lighter, it's totally up to me, okay, or up to you. I would like to try it. So this is the lighter version, okay. Some of you may like this, some of you may would want the darker ones. So you can go around controlling this. The best way to learn about levels is by doing trial and error. Then you'll understand how it works. And once you've done that, you can close your levels property. Is this specific here? Click on it, and then it's done. Pretty simple. It is pretty simple. Now, what I want you to do next is you can go and choose a color of your own choice. I'll give you approximately 5 minutes. Now, within these 5 minutes, should you have any questions or queries, you're most welcome to ask. It's 9:32 at the moment. I'll give you time till 9:37. Do go and learn this. Why? Because this will become sort of handy in doing your assignment or your project one, sorry. Yeah, so please go and work on it. So you have 5 minutes on you. Let's get started, people. Now, while you're working on this and changing colors, if you're lost, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Thing is this, all the steps that I mentioned earlier, they have to be done in a specific order. If they are not, you will not be able to get the result as you would require. So stick to the order, everyone. You have 1 more minute remaining. and then we'll discuss. Okay, let's go and discuss this. What I want to do is, again, I'm walking the same couch and I want to change the color. And this time the perfect color that I am choosing is somewhere between yellow and orange. Okay, so I'll pick this color and I will first of all copy the hexadecimal code, okay, and get it saved up in my computer's cache memory for later purposes. Now that is done. After that, I will use my quick selection tool and select the couch. Now this portion here, okay, it's not selected, so I'll click on it once and that is also selected. Once that is done, the very next thing I will do is from my layers tool menu, I will go and select a new group. So group is selected. I will select the group. After that, I will create a layer mask to that specific group. Now, do I have to notice is that when the group is selected, okay, I do not have any dash covering over the layer mask. So once the layer mask is selected, I have this dash outline. So that's clear. After that, I will go and create a new adjustments layer and apply a color fill. So the color that I wanted, I had copied it earlier. So that color becomes my fill color in the solid color option that I had selected. So I'll click on OK. Now that is covered up. Now do notice this. This is not selected from my previous selection. Okay, so just in case if this is not selected, you have to go around doing it all over. Okay, so I'll stick to what it is at the moment so that we do not end up wasting a lot of time. The very next thing I'll do is after I have chosen my color, it's just that I notice that there's no texture to it. I will go and set a effect and that effect will be color. Okay, so this is how color orange displays. Okay, and from there, the very next thing I will do is I will create a new adjustments layer and choose levels. So once I have done that, I can actually go and control the RGB, the reds, the greens, and the blues. By the way, orange or yellows, there are versions of red. Okay, so you can choose as to or you can adjust the levels as per you want. Also, you can adjust the brightness and the lightness. Okay, now at the moment I also have to ensure the colors are not throwing in as it's supposed to, because the fill color option. Okay, pardon me, something went wrong. Sorry, I'll have to do this all over. Okay, forgive me for that. My computer is playing up, I guess. Okay, let me do this again. Okay, so first of all, my color is chosen. I will use my quick selection tool which is here, and we'll select all of this. This portion here, which was missed previously, here some portion was missed as well. I've selected it now. Okay, all good. Next thing is I will go and create a group. So once that is done, I layer mask on that group. After that, new adjustments layer, and then fill color. So the color that I chosen is selected. So I'll click on OK. So once I've done that, very quickly, I will go and choose a color effect on it. So the texture is retrieved at the moment. And then to adjust it even further, what I will do next is on the new adjustments layer, I will go and select levels. Now, what I was telling you earlier is I will need to ensure my color fill layer comes on top of the levels. And then I will go and adjust my levels. Now to adjust it, the properties bar is here. Click on it. So I can always go and adjust it. Okay. So let's say I want it to be adjusted something like this. And there you go. And I can close my properties. So this is how we go around changing colors accordingly. Any questions, any queries, anyone? Anyone got stuck in the middle and you have a question? No questions? Okay, if no questions, please do not be surprised if I ask some of these things in your mid-semester exam. So please, if you have any doubts, you have to learn this beforehand. All right? Okay, moving on. The next thing what we'll do is this. Now, if you would go back to your Moodle shell, straight underneath week 4 section of the Moodle shell, okay, you have something on duplication. Okay, so what I would like you to do is it says create duplicates. Open up that particular link, and I would like you to go and save this image somewhere within a folder in your desktop. How do you save this? Do a right click and then save image as. Okay, so once you have saved the image, can you open up the very same image on photopea.com? Now, notice this image. So we have an image of Cristiano Ronaldo. I hope you know who he is. Okay, so what we want to do is something like this. Now, do notice is that on behind the scene, okay, the entire focus has been currently placed on Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, now this may be an actual camera, image taken from an actual camera, one, or probably this has been blurred out. Now, what I want us to do is we'll remove the referee from the background and these two other players from the background first. So once we are done with that, what we'll do is we'll create duplicates of Cristiano Ronaldo, and then we will place him at those spots. That means you have 1 and 3 more of him. Okay, so how are we going to do that? So the very first thing that we have to do is we have to remove all 3 of these individuals, the referee and the 2 other players. So I do hope that you know how to go around removing objects from a particular image. Can you go and do that right now? I'll give you 5 minutes to do that. How to do it? content aware feeling. Can you go and do that, everyone? Yeah, 5 minutes with you. And those of you who are not sure, I'll do one for you. In the other remaining, you have to do it yourself. Okay, so what you can do is you can select your lasso tool, zoom in your image. I'm taking out the referee first. I'll pan my image somewhere to the left-hand side, get a good hold of him. This is the maximum I can drag. And using my lasso tool, what I will do is I will select the object, which is the referee at the moment, and have a bit of the background image as well. Now, once you have selected, edit command, fill. Okay, so your filling option is going to be content aware, and click on OK. And give some time for the software to render. Okay, rendering, remember from your selection notes, to render your command. So once that is done, Control D to deselect, and the referee is gone. So likewise, can you go around doing it for the other two players as well? By the way, once you have selected something and you have that selection mark to deselect, you can always go on to the selection command and click on deselect or Control D. That's the shortcut for deselecting. You have 2 minutes on you. Okay, so this is what your result should be like. Now, I do notice that some of your connections are breaking off every now and then. So if you are one of them, I'm sorry. This is the most I could do, is to record the videos, the lectures in the labs, and post it up on Moodle. I do understand that some of your connections are always going on and off in our classes just because of connectivity issues. If you're one of them, please feel free to have a look at our lecture and lab recordings. All right, done, everyone? Now, once you've removed those three individuals from that image, so what I would like to do is this. I would like you to go and select Cristiano Ronaldo in this particular image. By the way, if you do not know who Cristiano Ronaldo is, welcome to the world. Okay, he's one of a very famous soccer player. Okay, so I would like you to select him from that particular image, so he becomes the object. Select the object, and you have to move the object a bit further towards the right hand side, giving us ample space to work on. Okay, now I like to do that, but do remember you have a shadow of him here at the bottom. Okay, notice this, there's a slight shadow of him. So that means once you move him towards the right hand side, and to make it look really realistic, you have to remove this shadow. Or let's try it out and see how it does look. If it doesn't look good, we'll have to remove the shadow. If it doesn't really matter, so we'll leave it as it is. Okay, now do note this, once we actually select him, we do a copy or paste. When you do a copy and paste, the original thing would remain there, and then you'll have a new version. But once you actually do a cut and paste, so it will cut out the background portion as well. So how are you going to work with it? Okay, now I'll tell you how we can go on working with it. So first of all, we'll go and select him from the image. We'll make careful selections. Now we won't be able to apply a quick selection tool or magic wand tool selection tool at the moment, because if you look at him, his jersey and his shorts and socks, the boot, they are of all different range of colors, and you'll end up selecting plenty portions of the background as well. So the best tool I can think of at the moment is lasso selection tool, but you have to be very careful. So outline the entire thing using lasso selection tool, and slowly using the commands from the option bar, you can subtract and you can add your selection. So everyone get busy with the selection. You have 5 minutes to do that. So with the lasso tool selected, you can begin your work. Now I am selecting the outlining portion first, just like we do it with the content aware, so that I will edit it later, because this is a very fine detailed image. Go slow. If you take it more than 5 minutes, not a problem. I'll give you some more time. But to go slow, make a proper selection. Now, those of you who currently have very little or no idea what is happening with the selection tool or what I am doing, okay, you might need to go back and look at the lab recordings. These are all simple Photoshop tools that we have been learning so far. It's just that we are combining all those different elements now. So how's everyone doing so far? Hope you're catching up. I'm trying to go as slow as possible so that I am in exact pace with you as well. Okay, I will suggest you to go slow so that your selection is as perfect as possible. Zoom in as much as possible as well. Once you zoom in and later onwards, when you zoom out the thing or the entire image, you'll notice that your selection looks way more better. Because by zooming in, you are able to pick up exact pixels. By the way, images like this, okay, it makes a selection very, very difficult. So why I've given you something like this, it becomes easy for you to practice, and also it looks realistic. I'm near to finishing mine. What about you? Where have you reached? And I'm done.
So we need some more time.
Some more time? Sure, go for it, go for it. See, once you zoom it and then try to do your selection, it becomes easy. So if you look at my selection at the moment, it looks like I've covered up completely all the edges. Remember, lasso tool, do your selection, have a bit of background selected as well, and then choose the subtract command from the options menu bar, and from there, it's easy. All right, is there anyone who requires more time to do the selection? Let me know so that all of us, we are on the same pace. All okay? All right, if all is well, then let's continue from here onwards. Okay, so once you're done with the selection, now be very careful with it so that you do not deselect. Now, if you just deselect it once, you have options to actually go around and undo it, in terms of you can go around selecting it all over. So that's not much of an issue. Now, this is what I want you to do next. I want you to copy your selection, Control C to copy, and then paste, Control V to paste. Now, do notice this, when I do a selection, okay, if I try to move him from that location to another, what happens is I am generally removing the background as well. I do not want to have that. So what I will do is I will copy and paste. So when you copy and paste, what you'll notice is that Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Once you copy and paste, what you'll notice is that you have another layer coming in. So that layer is basically the pasted version. So if I would drag it, so I have another version of Cristiano Ronaldo coming in. So what I will do is I'll just go and hide that layer, and I only have the object on the screen at the moment is deselected. Now, very carefully, once you have copied and pasted, can you go and select your background layer? Very carefully, can you go and select your background layer? And then you will go and remove him from this particular image. So how would you go on removing him? Your content aware options. So you will use your lasso tool once again, okay? Just try to select background with him outlined very, very well, okay? And then using your content aware options, can you go and remove him? So I've selected him. Now I will go and use my edit option from the menu bar. Fill, content aware, okay. It will take some time for rendering because the image size is big, so the pixels it is covering up, it's bigger. He's gone. Now we have removed a total of 4 individuals, 3 with smaller pixels, 1 with the bigger pixel. Now at the moment, if you would look at the picture, hardly seems that we have removed anything. Except if you notice it very well, you'll notice that this portion here, it's bit distorted. Okay, also over here as well, if you look at the shadow, now it does not actually look like a shadow of a person. It can be shadow of a camera or a person who is standing in front and trying to take a photograph. It may seem a shadow of that even. Okay, so it does not really matter, so we'll leave the shadow as it is. But if you'd like to go and remove it, you can always use your content aware tool once again to remove those. Now after that, what I will do is I will go and activate my layer 1, so he comes back. Okay, so we had hidden this, we'll unhide this, and after we have unhidden that layer 1, I will basically, okay, after we had unhidden him, what I will do is I will basically use my move tool and shift him somewhere in front.
Can you just repeat the steps, please?
For moving him?
Even before that, like once we have selected.
Okay, for content aware, for removing him from the image.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let me go back. So I have to go backward. Okay. Now here's the thing. So we had copied and pasted, and I had gone around hiding layer 1. So how do I hide? You have the show and hide icon. So I will hide him through that. Okay. And I am back on my background layer. So once I'm on background layer, I have chosen my lasso tool and I have selected him by outlining him altogether. Okay. With the lasso tool, I've selected. Now, when you're using content aware, when you're trying to remove an object from the image, with the use of content aware, this is how the algorithm in this software works. So what you're doing is you're choosing an object to remove, but with it, you choose portion of your background as well. So that portion of background would be covering up whatever you remove. Okay. So once I've selected this using the lasso tool, I'll go to the edit menu and choose the option fill. With that, I will choose the option content aware underneath fill. Now you can have various things to select. If you use foreground color, so your foreground color at the moment is yellow, it will be filled by yellow. If you use background color, it will be yelled, it will be filled by black background color because your background color at the moment is black. But you're using content aware. So this is the content that you have selected, okay, outside the object, and you'll click on OK. So the software will take some time for render it, probably a few seconds, because the image is quite large in terms of the pixels. So once that is done, you'll see the picture of the soccer player has been removed. So you'll have to deselect your option. So how do you deselect the option? Select menu and deselect, or you can press the shortcut key Control D. So that works. So that was removing him from the background layer. Now, from the layer 1, which we had copied and pasted earlier, so we show, this is the show height. So we show, when you choose the option show from layer 1, I want to shift him a bit towards the right hand side. Can you do that, everyone? Now, once you shift him towards the right hand side, that shadow can would mean that it's reflecting him. Okay, even though it's a bit towards the right, it is still reflecting him. So that should be fine. So you don't need to actually remove the shadow. Okay, now also do note that through our copying and pasting of the pixel of the selection that we had done, if you have selected very precisely, very well, what you will notice is that it doesn't in anyhow seems that you had copied and pasted. Okay, now when I zoom in, does it actually show it copies it is copied and pasted? Yes, it does. So when I zoom in, have a look at this white. So this white portion, and I look at the boot here, the studs of the boot at the moment, this is black, comes in white. That's the white portion from the previous selection. So it does show in some way or the other that this had been copied and pasted precisely. If you go and zoom in, look at this pixel as well here. Okay, if I would zoom in even further, that's how we'll realize that these are some additional pixels shown from the previous selection. Okay, so those are some of the ways you can select. Now, even if you look at this here, this portion here, let me zoom it in and I'll pan it towards the right hand side. How do you pan it? Control and your mouse roller. Zoom in is Control plus. Okay, now do notice this. This seems it has been picked out from elsewhere. Now, these pixels, all of these, they have memories, they have sizes. So if you're picking up additional pixels from other images and pasting it into another image, so these all will increase the size of your image together with the actual object. Okay, so do note that. Now we're here at the moment. So next up, we need to have 3 more versions of his. So what I will do is I will select layer 1. I'll press Control C to copy and Control V to paste. So when I press Control V to paste, okay, I have layer 1 copy. Now I'll double click on this and I will rename it as copy 1. Why I'm renaming it copy 1? Because it will become easier for me to call out the name of the layers. Okay, now copy 1, what you'll do is, now when you copy and paste, copied version comes right on top of the exact image. Okay, so that means the copy 1 object would be right on top of this. So I have selected copy 1 and then I'll click and hold and then drag him right here. With me, everyone, so far? Okay, so once I dragged him, I want to use the free transform tool to reflect him on the background. Now, do notice that when someone is in front, when you're taking a photograph, when someone is right in front of the camera, he will look a bit more bigger. But people who are generally behind, they will look a bit smaller in size. So this is what we'll have to reflect. So we want to say, okay, so there's another version of Cristiano Ronaldo, but it's a bit smaller in size. So how do I do that? Okay, now I can use my free transform tool from the edit menu. You have free transform tool, which is here, or I prefer to use my shortcut. Now do remember, you're selecting copy 1 layer. Shortcut is Alt plus Control plus T. So when you press Alt plus Control plus T, after that, press and hold your Shift key and then drag it in to make it a bit more smaller. Make sure the footing, the front leg, it should seem that it is touching the ground. All right. So once you've done that, what you'll do is you'll create another copy, but this time not of layer 1, but of copy 1 layer. So what I will do is I'll select this layer, Control Z and Control V. Control C is copy, Control V is paste. So I'll paste it up. So I will go and rename this to copy 2. How do I rename? Double click on the name of the layer. It gives you a editing section or portion, or where it makes it editable, more likely. And then rename it to copy 2. So once you've done that with the use of your selection tool and with copy 2 layer selected, I'll go and shift him further towards the left hand side. And this time with the use of free transform tool, again, free transform tool, edit, free transform, or shortcut key, Alt Control plus T, T for tree, okay, and make him a bit more smaller. So in total, 3 versions of him: layer 1, copy 1, copy 2. If we would have a bit more space somewhere in the background, so we could have inserted portion of him, probably half of it, whereby he's jumping into the frame of the picture, something like this. You could have done even something like this as well, okay, if we had more space. So just because we do not have more space, we'll just leave him here, okay. All right, so this is how you duplicate objects on an image. Now, there's one more thing that will take us another 10 to 15 minutes to do, is to actually insert your own logo. Okay, so how do we insert our own logo? Let's say on top, you want to insert in your logo with some texts. Okay, so how do I go around doing it? To insert a logo, first of all, you have to create a logo. Now, what I have done is in your Moodle shell, if you look at under week 4 section of the Moodle shell, where you have the exercise section, the lab exercise or the in-class lab exercise, here I have inserted an image of a camera. Can you go and, this is the one that I'm talking about. Can you go and please download that image of a camera? Just the camera one. That's what I need at the moment. Okay. The other remaining ones will cover it. We'll download it later. So can you go and download that camera image very, very quickly? So this is where I will teach you how you can go around using Magic Word selection tool. All right, so once you've downloaded that, in photopea.com, can you go and open up the camera image? Now, when you open up that camera image, what generally happens is that it will open up in a new document. Now, you will not be able to shift the entire thing, or are you able to shift the entire thing in here? Now, see, when you are shifting the entire thing, it reads the background as well. So you don't want that. Okay, what you want is just the camera, this camera portion only. So how would I go around doing it? Also do notice I want to put it here somewhere on top. So if it's black in color, it may not be too visible. We want it to be white in color. Okay, so there's a few things that we need to change. So going back to our camera image, first of all, we'll select everything from there. The camera, the entire of the camera. So how do we select? Now do notice this camera is just made out of shapes. So it's rectangles, circles. Okay, so how do we go around selecting it? So from our tools menu, okay, click and hold where you have your quick selection tool and select magic wand. So when you have your magic wand tool selected, click on one of the black portions. So what magic wand tool basically does, it only goes and selects all the connected colors. If you have a look at this is all connected. Okay, all of it is connected. It's not stepping out of that connection. So therefore it has selected that particular section. Now also notice that you have the circle and square which is not selected. So quickly go to your options menu. From there, you need to ensure, look at your options. First one is replace. No, you don't want it to be replaced. We want to select or add to it. You have unite. So unite seems like add. Let's go look at the other options as well. And then you have subtract. No, we don't want to subtract. And then you have intersect. Intersect is like, you have two circles, Venn diagram, two circles. So wherever the two circles are meeting, okay, that's like the intersect. Okay, so we don't want that either. So unite is the best option. So I will click onto that square. So that square is selected. And I'm also clicking on that circle. So that selected circle is also selected. Is it? Yes, it is. If you're not so sure, you can always zoom in and have a look. Okay, it's selected. This portion, yeah, let's get it selected. So that's done. Now I need to go and change the color. So how do I change the color? Do I do the very same thing as we did with the couch? No, that's very long. And also over here, it's just a frame. This is just a plain color. There's no texture to it. There's no texture. Have a look at it. It's just shapes, no texture. So what I can do is I want to change this to color white. So which color do you prefer? White, yellow, green, red, blue? Let's pick a color of your choice. White, should white be fine? Let's stick to white. So what I will do is this. I will choose color white from my foreground color picker. Now do note this, the box that you're seeing on top is foreground and this one is the background. So when you click on it, it opens up the color picker palette. So from here, you are able to choose a color. So I'm choosing color white. I'm using as white as possible. Okay, or I can just choose here. This is also white and click on OK. Once that is done, to change the color of this, now somewhere down here, you have a bucket tool here, paint bucket tool. Okay, have a look at this, just like a lollipop icon, you have a drop icon, and then you have something like a square. Now this square represents the gradient tool. No, not gradient tool at the moment, just paint bucket tool. So I'm using the paint bucket tool and I'm just clicking on my selection. So first connected selection, I have done that, it changes to color white. And then this circle, click on it once, changes to color white. And finally, this small square, that also changes to color white. So your camera, which was black in color, you have changed it to color white. Now, once you have done that, this is what you will do next. You will copy this, Control C to copy. After that, you will jump over to the previous image that you already had, the one that you're editing, the picture of Cristiano Ronaldo's, more than one Ronaldo's at the moment, and press Control V to paste. So when you press Control V to paste, so you have a layer 2 coming in. So quickly, first of all, before we move it around, let's name your layer 2 logo and underscore cam. So logo underscore cam, that's what I am renaming my layer 2. So after I've done that, I will choose my selection tool and I am going to drag it on top. Now, if it looks too big, you can use your free transform tool to actually go and edit the size of it. So the shortcut for free transform tool is Alt plus Control plus T. It'll only get selected once you're choosing the correct layer. If you're not choosing the correct layer, it won't work. Okay, then I will drag it in and make it a bit more smaller in size. Now that reminds me, last week Saturday, I think Izal, it was you. Yeah, I think Izal, it was you. You were asking me, okay, you insert some text. I think you're working on your project one, and then you've inserted some text and your text didn't seem to show up. Okay, now it's very common that those kind of things happen. You insert your text, you insert an image, but it doesn't show up. And it wouldn't show up. The very first thing you'll notice is that you'll have several layers. For instance, we have a total of 5 layers in here. Let's say the camera image disappears. The only reason why I would do that is something like this. It's gone. Why it's gone? Because of the layer. Now, the layer which comes on top means that layer, that object would be shown right on top of the image. So if I want my logo to be shown, comes up here. Now what happens is, look at the space it's covering up. Have a look at this. If I place my logo somewhere over here, now it goes not above, but it goes behind the image of Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, now what if I place it over here in front of layer one? So when you place it in top of layer one, so this is layer one, it goes, pardon me, it goes on top of this. What about copy one? It's underneath copy one. Copy one is this particular image, so that means should go behind. Yes, it does go behind. So you see that? Okay. What about copy two? For copy two, it will still go behind. If I move it a bit up, so at the moment it will go on top of copy one and behind copy two. So I need to ensure this goes right on top so that it is not hidden in any way or the other. So this is where it comes to. Okay, so that's on you managing the layers and you aligning it properly. Now, with the logo, what I want to do is I want it to blend in with the image. That means this logo that you have, I should be able to see the background or slightly portion of the stadium as well. So how do I control that? That means should be, correct word is transparent is one, or another word that we say is low opacity. Low opacity means it's more transparent. So with your layer selected, you'll notice is that you have a command called opacity over here. Opacity means you control the transparency. At the moment opacity is at 100%, that means there's no transparency. So if I want to reduce it, okay, so if I reduce it to, let's say, 90, you'll notice what happens. Okay, let's put it to a lower value, 10%. Do you see what happens? Okay, what about 20%? Notice what happens now. Now, you can do that, or the simple way in which you can do trial and error with opacity is this. What you'll do is your cursor, the mouse pointer, you take it on top of the name opacity. So when you take it on top of it, you'll notice that your cursor changes. Now, when you press and hold and drag your cursor towards the left-hand side, you'll see the value decreasing. Do you see that? It's going down 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and you drag it to the right-hand side, it increases 5, 12, 13, 14, and also notice your logo, the camera image. So it's 100 at the moment. You see that 100? I have not released my mouse button. I'm still drag it in. I'm still drag it in. So have a look, have a look, have a look. Now I want it to be transparent. I think somewhere down here to 26% looks good. All right, so I'll leave it to 26%. Or if you want to make it a bit more darker, there you go. Now, also I want to insert some text in here, okay, or probably somewhere here at the bottom. So what I'll do is very quickly, I'll use my type tool and insert text. So I will write down CIN535. Now do notice when I'm using my text tool, the color at the moment is color black. So if you want to change it to white, first of all, you have to select, double click and select what all you have typed, change it to color white, okay, and probably increase the size of your text. I'm going to increase it to 100. To make it bigger, leave it as big as possible at the moment so that later on it becomes easy for me to edit. Okay, so CIN535 uppercase collection, right? Let's say I'm not satisfied with the font type, so I can always go and choose a font type that I prefer. Do notice what happens when you're choosing your font type. The very first font type that you'll choose, you won't have the preview. Just select anyone and then the preview is shown off to you. Okay, so I will choose a bit of fancy one. Okay, this looks good. Okay, can be any. So then I will reduce the size to, let's say, about 70. All right, and then I'll move it somewhere down here, or I can have it somewhere here. Same thing with the text layer. Please ensure it's right on top, okay, or it's not at a place where it's going to hinder it from showing it. All right, so this is the logo. Now if you want to ensure that it is also transparent, so you can control the opacity. Okay, there you go. See, you can control it. Now if you want to have it whereby CIN535 is much more darker, like whereby the opacity is 100 and the collection opacity is, let's say, 50, or in a different color, you can have it in different layers and then you can control it. Totally up to you. Okay, but I'm going to leave it at total of 50%. So this is on creating duplicates, controlling layers, inserting in a logo, okay, copying and pasting, and jumping across one image to the other, and controlling objects. Any questions, any queries, anyone? Now the main purpose why I chose this, actually I had another set of tasks here. These are the ones that was initially supposed to be discussed in today's class, but I jumped off into this is because these are some of the common possible tools that you can use in your project one. Okay, so that's why I jumped off to another set of exercise. Now these, don't worry, I'm not omitting this. Okay, so these are the images that we will be actually working in next week's lecture class, because our lectures for CIN535 is generally not so big in size. So we'll go and use them. By the way, these images, if I would open it up, these are actual images. Let's go and read them first, and then I'll tell what we'll have to do. Or if you want, you can try doing it yourself and give it a go. So scenario, Jay, a web developer and an enthusiastic photographer, pictures for a website project. The day was cloudy with a semi-pro camera and the pictures didn't turn out so well. Jay has learned that you are learning Photoshop and is seeking your assistance to fix these pictures. Moreover, he wishes to personalize these images with a logo and text. So now these images that have been taken, they are real pictures. Okay, real pictures in terms of these pictures were taken by some of our before last year's students. They did CIN 628 with me. Okay, and we ended up creating a website for a resort in Nandi. So that was our consultation project. Okay, so they were paid a bit, not too much. They were paid a bit in terms of I think there were 3 or 4 of them, so $100 each, something like that, and they were given references, okay, and some future consultation work as well. So we ended up going out to this particular resort in Nandi. We took the photographs. We took a photograph using a mobile phone camera, and then we ended up editing it. Okay, so if you would have a look at the images, I'll quickly show it to you. So these are realistic images. Okay, now the scenario is given on model, this was a cloudy day. In fact, if you would look at this image, you'll see the tiles, they are wet. It had just rained when we took the photographs. Unfortunately, due to time restrictions, we couldn't go out on a sunny day, and we had to get the website done up and running within a month or so. So we went around taking these photographs, and it was a sunny day. And things weren't organized for us to go and take the photograph. Generally, when you go and take photographs for resorts, for some tourist destinations, so things need to be prepared. For example, things need to be at its top class order when photographs are taken. Okay. When I was a student, I used to do it, create websites for companies. So when I used to go around taking photographs, that time we didn't have what type of cameras you have at the moment. We were taking photographs from those digital cameras, but very low pixels. So we used to get everything set up first, take photographs. We couldn't edit them because Photoshop didn't have that much features that time. In fact, that time Photoshop, we didn't know how to use Photoshop, by the way. So we used to take photographs and then put them on the websites. So this was one of the photographs. Okay, so it needed to be fixed in terms of we needed to ensure it wouldn't look like a sunny day. So we had to edit it as such. Now next photograph, this looks okay, not so problematic, but yeah, so this was okay. But okay, let me make it like this. So this image, you had to make it look brighter. You had to make it look more like it's on a sunny day. And also notice this, if you look at the tiles portion here, this section, do you see it's glued? You can see the tile glues. You can see a broken tile over here. So these need to be fixed. Okay, moreover, same thing here, the tile glues, this portion here, it shouldn't be visible. Okay, and also when you are taking photographs and putting on websites, you need to place emphasis on certain portions of the website. For example, the emphasis here was on the pool area. So these, there's a vehicle standing here, some at the back, the building here, these needed to be omitted, or these need to be blurred out. Also notice this in the image here, this doesn't look good. So we had to go around editing this. Okay, now there are a few more images over here. This image was very good, in fact. Okay, but look at the tiles here, it's broken. So we used what you call as a clone stem tool to actually clone the tiles from here and put it here, and that's done. Okay, and again the emphasis here was on the pool area, and these are okay. Okay, and we had to remove this as well. This is from the kids pool. Okay, so it didn't look so well, so we ended up removing it. Now this particular image was just horrendous. Why horrendous was this? The resort was basically trying to build something here in the middle. So while in the process of doing it, they ended up uprooting all the grass from this section. Now the building, it looks good, okay, but this portion looks ugly. So we had to do two options: either we crop the image, or we have to manually feed in grass in all this area. Okay, now it can be possible, and it was done. We had manually fed in the grass in all these areas. And also notice this here, this sack of grass, or somewhere here in the middle. Okay, so either you remove it or blur it, do something about it. Okay, so if you want to go and give it a go, do try doing it. Also look at this, this light here is all rusted, the color is gone. Okay, so we need to work on that. Over here, same thing, this portion, the footpath is all broken away, we need to fix this. And this area as well, I think this is near, so this area onwards was the pool area, and this area is their restaurant. Okay, and this was their recreational area. Okay, next to it you have all the kids playing area. So look at the grass and stuff, we had to edit that. All right, so all these things have to be edited. And this is also one of the images. Okay, now notice this, look at the floor color here, look at the floor color here, the wooden structure is wearing out, so it doesn't look good, we need to edit that. Also the pipe running somewhere here in the middle, pipe is all covered up with the mold, so we needed to remove that. Okay, so and there's another one of it. So this was for Wailola Beach Resort. Okay, so these needed to be brightened up. So these are some of the very basic skills that you can use. So these are the images that needs some form of editing. Now the basic skills that you've learned so far, you can use it to actually go around editing these images. If you would actually look at the original website that they have, I'll just quickly go and show it to you and see what the image looks like. By the way, this website has been completely designed by our students. CIN628, this was 2019. Okay, 2019, 2020. Completely designed by them, hosted by them. See, this is the same image that you're looking at. Now have a look at this image. Have a look at this. And then have a look at this. Do you see the difference? Big difference. Okay. So this is how the website is. This is the home page. So this blinking button, when you click on it, it takes you down. Now have a look at this. The grass section is still there. They're yet to remove it, or they haven't removed it. So we'll leave it how it is. Okay. And the footpath, you'll notice that they're blurred a bit. Look at this building. So this is the image. Now have a look at this image. And then have a look at this. Big difference. Okay. Look at all these green borders. They were all dull on the other side. Same thing here as well. Okay. The pool area, remember I was just showing it to you a while back. Okay. Now this is something that I had requested them to move it. So those guys, they're all working now because they've already graduated, but they have blurred it to a certain extent, but not so well. But we can always do that. Okay. The resort, they were happy with the work that they had done. And this is another one of it. There you go. Have a look at this. Now if you would carefully have a look at the image, if you really carefully have a look at it, you'll notice that the grass color is completely different. Why? Because this is all edited. Look at this plant and have a look at this plant. What's the difference? The plant didn't exist in that area beforehand. Let me show it to you. Where is the image? Okay, so this is the place where the image was taken, this area. Now if you have a look at it on the website, it has all this coming in. It wasn't there at the very first place. Okay, so this was the website. And yeah, so if you would go and look at the gallery portion, so in the gallery portion you have the images, the edited versions. Sorry, it's taking some time to load up. It's not the internet connection, it's just that this is a image intensive website. Okay, plenty of images in them. So yeah, so if you have free time, go and have a look at this. This is work of our students. They've done it. They've received references for it. They've paid to a certain extent. Free lunch, dinner, stay, breakfasts, yeah, free stay. So yeah, so once you go down to CIN628, and if you have the capabilities to come up with the websites as such, work as such, you can always write on proposals to companies, and if they agree, you can get a website done for something cheap. I can also come in and help you with hosting services, hosting and domain. This is the domain name, by the way, and the hosting services, I can always help you out with it, and then we can create something. All right. And by the way, this website was not copied from somewhere. This is completely hard coded. The students, they have coded it themselves. Okay, all the codes, scripts, they have used the scripts from web-based scripts. Otherwise, most of things is completely hard coded. No copying and pasting from the web, no taking out of templates. All right, so try and give your best shot at those images. See if you can improve them. Also with them, you have to insert in a logo. You can use a camera image as a logo and insert in a text of your own choice. All right, everyone. So give it a go, and come next week's lecture class, we'll go over this. should take us about half an hour to 45 minutes to edit those. All right, everyone. So this is where I'll leave you for today. Thank you so much for joining in. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, feel free to ask or feel free to drop me a message. Okay. Till then, take care. Stay safe. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.